If you enjoy the presence of the Creator worshiping with saxophone and walking in Torah, then join me as we journey through Breshit to Devarim. Welcome, friends. Welcome back to SAX Music Torah Studio. Last time we studied Vayikra chapter 4. The Creator laid out sin offerings for Bnei Israel. Today, we will look at Vayikra chapter 5, which uncovers guilt. Let's dive verse by verse into this book, this chapter. I'm going to read the first 4 verses, and then we'll take it from there. When a being sins in that he has heard the voice of swearing and is a witness, or has seen or has known what does not reveal it, he shall bear his crookedness. Or when a being touches any unclean matter, or the carcass of an unclean beast, or the carcass of unclean livestock, or the carcass of unclean creeping creatures, and it has been hidden from him, he is unclean and guilty. Or when he touches uncleanness of man, any of his uncleanness by which he is unclean, and that it has been hidden from him, when he shall know it, then he shall be guilty. Or when a being swears, speaking rashly with his lips to do evil or to do good, whatever it is that a man swears rashly with an oath, and it has been hidden from him, when he shall know it, then he shall be guilty of one of these. So we are here talking about the guilt offerings. We have started Leviticus 1 talking about the Korban Olam, which is the burnt offering. Then we move on to chapter 2. We spoke about the grain or the meal offering, which is Korban Mincha. After that, we looked at the peace offerings, and then we looked at the sin offerings. So now we're at the guilt offerings, and these are all dealing with unintentional sins. So I want you to picture this. You're a witness. You swear to testify, but you stayed silent after considering the implication of the witness that you testimony that you have. Then you would have incurred guilt according to Vayikra chapter 5 verses 1 to 4. So that's one way you would incur guilt, if you vouch to testify and then you change your mind. Another instance that was highlighted was that matter of uncleanness, where you touch a dead carcass of an animal, or somebody's abnormal discharge, or you come in contact with a woman during her menses, then that would have made you ritually defiled according to the Torah. So whether or not you're aware of it, or whether it was but if you were not aware of it and it was concealed from you, then you are guilty. You should bear your guilt once you have found out. And there's another purpose for bringing a guilt offering that pertains to swearing. I swear that I will not eat chocolate again. And then 2 weeks later, it was all chocolate and you're all hungry and you decide to have that chocolate. Then you would not have honored your vow. And so you'd have brought a guilt on yourself. These persons who are guilty, they are blocked from coming into the Mishkan. And you're not permitted to communicate with the Creator unless you have brought your guilt offering. You should atone and for that offense that you've committed, and the Creator is ready to accept your atonement, but it must be done under His instruction. So the key lesson in this, we always wonder these instructions in Leviticus, Vayikra, how does it apply to us? We must, so ignorance, they always say ignorance of the law is no this, right? So ignorance does not erase your responsibility. We must be responsible in our speaking, in our touching, in our heart, and whatever we do. Because the fact is that the Creator, He sees our heart, right? Excuse me. So you promise a friend would speak up for him in a meeting, but when you and the meeting is convened and you see all the dignitaries in the meeting, then you decide that you're not going to talk again. That's an example how the guilt offering would come in, right? So you pass on it, but then having done that, you would not have honored your commitment, and so you probably said you forgot, right? So these things are things that we uh, should bring an offering for, and we cannot be guilty of these things and touching dead carcass, making a vow and not honoring it, and then we go to the Creator in prayer. No, He knows the heart, and He gives His instructions right quite clearly in His Torah, and we should ensure that we honor what He expects of us. So, what I'd like for us to do is to make this applicable to our lives. Then we could maybe scan what today was like for us, right? And is there anything that you promised that you did not honor? Is there anything that you touched that you think might have been suspect, that have brought uncleanness upon you? Is there any conversation that you are in that is not healthy? We have an opportunity to confess and be clean before our Creator. Our words, they come easily, but they carry weight. And when persons are emotional or people have extreme positive feelings, they will make promises, and sometimes, unfortunately, we do not honor it. The Creator will hold us guilty if we are unaware of our defilement, and so we must ensure that we be conscious of what His Torah teaches. So what the Torah teaches us is that Bnei Israel must be very diligent, must constant in honoring the Creator's presence, because He knows what we commit to doing, and if we don't do it, then the onus is on upon us. The oath, right? It gives us a guilt if we do not honor it, and us forgetting doesn't change anything. So the Creator actually urges us in mindfulness to be mindful in our words and to protect the trust of the community within which we operate. Verse 5 to 6 says, "And it shall be, when he is guilty of one of these, that he shall confess that in which he has sinned, and shall bring his guilt offering to the Creator for his sin which he has sinned, a female from the flock, a lamb or a female goat as a sin offering. And the priest shall make atonement for him for his sin." So this reminds me of the peace offering, which allows for both a female or a male to be offered, right? And this is a sin offering. There are times though that persons are not able to afford the offering that is required, and so we'll have to look more closely in this to see what provisions are made. So we must own up to our sins, and we must make a sacrifice for the sin, and that we will get forgiveness, and we must be in fervent repentance, right? It's natural for someone to snap at his or her spouse in haste. Sometimes the pressures of balancing life, and then later we realize that we hurt our spouse, right? It's good if we can admit it out aloud that yes, we have done that, and make efforts to make amends. And this is indeed a kind act, and it's something that the Creator encourages us in terms of spiritual maturity to do. So we must confess, as verse 5 says, when he's guilty, he shall confess that in which he has sinned. Right? It doesn't make sense we try to go to make an offering when we are not making amends. Right? So that is something that we have. That's a homework that we have, because when we confess, it actually unlocks atonement. It helps to clear the air, and the Creator, that I believe goes up as a sweet smelling savor to our Creator when He sees us doing what He instructs us to do. It clears the air fast, and it frees up our joy, and it removes guilt, because the purpose of the guilt offering, it also helps to remove that guilt. So those persons who are hoarding guilt have the opportunity to settle those they have wronged, and make their offering. Right. So it is not just a ritual that we're to focus on. The Creator wants us to truly turn from the way of life that we have embarked on, and in that way, it actually builds our humility, and it also helps to build the trust that we share in Bnei Israel. We see in verse 6 that it is the priest that handles the atonement, right? So there is the opportunity that the person who was sinned will bring the lamb and will offer it up. That is a way of showing that we take responsibility. So we can't really atone alone. I think we need help in doing that. Let's read verses 7 to 10. And if he is unable to bring a lamb, then he shall bring to the Creator, he who has sinned, 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, one for a sin offering and the other for an ascending offering. And he shall bring them to the priest, who shall bring near that which is for the sin offering first, and nib off his head from his neck, but not sever it. And he shall sprinkle some of the blood of the sin offering on the side of the slaughter place, and the rest of the blood shall be drained out at the base of the slaughter place. It is a sin offering. And he shall prepare the second as an ascending offering according to the right ruling, and the priest shall make atonement for him for his sin which he has sinned, and it shall be forgiven him. So, with the first instance, the person who recognizes that he has, the person who is offering for his guilt cannot afford a sheep, then no problem. You have the opportunity to give something else. 2 turtle doves. That's cheaper than the lamb or the goat. Or a pigeon. One pigeon or 2 turtle doves, because turtle dove is actually cheaper than pigeon. So one sin offering, one burnt offering, as mentioned. And that's in verse 7 that you're seeing on the screen in Vayikra. Right? So the priest will then slit the neck of the bird and dash the blood on the altar and drains the rest. So the bird is burnt fully and ascends to the Creator, as that aroma ascends. It's not that the aroma is any benefit to the Creator, but the act of doing what we are instructed to do. So usually for the other offerings, the burnt offering is submitted first. But now, in this instance, we are seeing that it is the sin offering and then the ascending offering, and that is the order when they're done together. So we see the mercy that is extended to the person who cannot afford, it actually goes down. I would think logically that you should offer something based on the extremity of your sin. So you commit a big sin, then, or not really a big sin, but something that's really deserving of, that's really costly to others, then, you give more. And if you do a small, a thing that is not as costly and has many effects, then you do a small one. But no, that's not how the Creator does things. He he instructs you to give based on your what you can afford. And remember, all the category of sin we're talking about here is unintentional, mistaken, inadvertent sins, not sins that we have deliberately purposed in our minds to commit against our brother, like capital, breaking the sixth commandment and those other commands that deserving of capital punishment or lashes, or for even for repayment. We must look at this, as an opportunity. We should be grateful for this, right? So you don't have to have money to buy a pricey livestock to show that you're really repenting of your sin, right? We all get the same forgiveness regardless of what you offer and compared to what I offer. So I wouldn't call it big repentance. I believe that once we recognize that we have gone wrong, or have the thought that we've gone wrong, we can start small, and I think that the Creator will honor our best effort. I would call this the offering of the poor man. The pigeon. I believe that it is really the persons who are less have lower economic means would be happy to reach up to actually make this payment. So the Creator wants us to clear our guilt, and so he makes a model for us so that we can repent. Let's read verses 11 through to 13. But if he is unable, so what we're going to realize now, there are still some people who cannot afford the poor man's offering, which is the two turtle doves or the pigeon. In this case, then, a provision is made. Let's read. But if he is unable to bring two turtle doves or two young pigeons, then he who sinned shall bring for his offering 1/10 of an ephah of fine flour as a sin offering. He puts no oil on it, nor does he put any frankincense on it, for it is a sin offering. And he shall bring it to the priest, and the priest shall take his hand filled with it as a remembrance portion, and burn it on the slaughter place according to the offerings made by fire to the Creator. It is a sin offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for him for a sin that he has sinned in any of these, and it shall be forgiven him, and it shall be the priest's like a grain offering. So here we're seeing someone who is too poor for birds. They can hand over some flour. The last time we mentioned flour as an offering, it was in chapter 3 for the minka, korban minka, the grain offering. This is usually served with oil and frankincense for flavor. In this particular case, the person cannot afford that and it's not required. So here we are seeing a sin offering that does not include any blood at all, right? So it is not a fact that you need blood to atone for sins. That's not what the Torah is saying. It's saying all this person needs is 1/10 of an ephah of fine flour as a sin offering. No oil or no frankincense, nothing for the flavor. So when it's a sin offering, you would need that in it. It's brought to the priest, and the priest takes a handful and sends up the remembrance portion and burnt on the slaughter place according to the offerings made by fire to the Creator. So this is what is the fire offering made by fire to the Creator. It is a sin offering. And the priest does not, for his, and the priest shall make atonement for him, and it shall be forgiven, and it shall be the priest like a grain offering. So the priest actually gets the remainder of this offering, right? Except that he does not have the oil and the frankincense spice in it. So can just imagine someone like a widow who does not have cover protection for herself and not having the means. This person would definitely need help, and so the creator makes a provision. Give what you have, and the most lowly of less least costly would be the flour. Because remember now, the creator measures the heart. He does not measure the size, right? And you don't have to pressure yourself into getting the oil and the frankincense. The flour alone is still fully enough to atone. So that is a blessing for us. That's a blessing that the children of the Creator can actually have an opportunity to receive atonement. Let's read the last few verses, 14 to 19. And the Creator spoke to Moses, saying, when a being commits a trespass and has sinned by mistake against the set apart matters of the Creator, then he shall bring to the Creator as his guilt offering a ram, a perfect one, from the flock with your valuation in shekels of silver, according to the shekel of the set apart place, as a guilt offering. And he shall make good for the sin that he has done against that which is set apart, and shall add 1/5 to it, and give it to the priest. And the priest shall make atonement for him with a ram of guilt offering, and it shall be forgiven him. And when any being sins and has done what is not to be done against any of the commands of the Creator, though he knew it not, yet he shall be guilty, and shall bear his crookedness. Then he shall bring to the priest a ram, a perfect one from the flock, with your valuation as a guilt offering. And the priest shall make atonement for his mistake he committed unintentionally, though he did not know it, and it shall be forgiven him. It is a guilt offering. He was truly guilty before the Creator. So we see another offense where the person would have misused set apart property, albeit by mistake, like eating the sacred food, right? That would be something that is worth repaying for. So we have to understand that we must approach holy things with reverence, holy property, and where we recognize that we have fallen short, then the reconciliation here is to bring a ram, pay its value, plus 1/5 to the high priest, and then the priest atones, then you're forgiven. So even though it is unintentional, we have to compensate for it, because it is at a cost, right? So because it is at a cost, then we have to there has to be repayment for it. It is better than having receive a capital punishment for this offense, this grave offense. So what can we learn? How can we apply this to our lives now? Now, for example, I unknowingly use the temple funds, donations, and for groceries, right? Something like that. There's a law that you have to repay double. You have to repay, and until you repay, you cannot bring your offering. So it's not a case where you realize you have been wrong, and you just bring an offering. No, there must be restitution before. So in some cases, you have to add 1/5 for the misuse of the funds. So it's not like you stole the temple funds, but the fact that you had used it for a purpose that is not, then you have to pay, because remember now, this is sacred asset, right? The creators has claims on these, so it will be carelessness for us to use the resources to say help someone that has asked us, rather than to apply it how it is to be done. So for example, you might think that this is how the funds of the temple should be used because it's a good thing, but then if it's designated for something more sacred, then we must not go beyond that. So the point is unawareness, that we're reading in these last verses of chapter 5 of Leviticus. It does not excuse us to misuse set apart property. The Creator's portion demands respect always, and the guilt should prompt us to quickly return to purity. So this is a very interesting chapter. Just to wrap up, we see mercy extended by the Creator to sinners that sometimes are not aware that they are breaching His commands, but having come to the point that they are aware, gets to make up and to offer an offering. So we are directed along a path of atonement. So we don't have an excuse to not atone. If we cannot afford a ram, we see we can offer the bird, or if we cannot offer the pigeon, then we can offer the turtle doves. Cannot offer that, then we can offer the flower, because every soul matters to the Creator, and it must not be because of poverty why you cannot receive atonement. And remember now, these are unintentional sins, but it's still real. It's still real sin. And so the Creator actually makes these different layers of atoning procedures to meet us where we are. So we confess what we can confess, and offer what we can, and we find forgiveness. So I'm hoping that this can really stir our heart. So whatever hidden guilt that needs to be aired out, we are to confess, admit, and make efforts to make up with our brother and the Creator. We have the opportunity to step into His gentle accountability, right? And it is not something that is hard. It's actually, mercy is actually waiting for us. So that's it for the chapter. So we have covered all. We've covered the burnt offering, the grain offering, the peace offering. We've covered so we can actually go back to the earlier videos to see the discussion on that. And we have just covered the guilt offering. So what I want us to do is look at a quiz. I have a quiz that I wanted us to check out on the guilt offering. And these are 3 very difficult quizzes. What symbolizes the Creator's mercy most uniquely in Vayikra 5's progression? Is it the severity-based offerings? Is it the affordable scale of sacrifices? Is it the leader-only atonements? Or is it oil in all grain gifts? So if we had ever been reading chapter 5, right, because this is encouraged. There's no way we can actually just listen to a discussion or a commentary on the chapter and understand. We must take some time to read it. But the answer is, what's most unique in chapter 5 is actually the affordable scale of sacrifices. It's not about the size of the sin that you have committed, but what you can afford. You have the opportunity to receive atonement. Second question: Why does the Creator demand restitution plus 20% for set apart misuse? Is it to punish intent? Is it to deter future negligence? Is it to enrich priests, or only for deliberate theft? And the answer for that is in chapter 5, verses 15 to 16. So we can get that one for ourselves. Well, it's really to deter future negligence. The other one would be the assignment then. What pattern unites all Vicar 5 guilts? Right? And the pattern is it awareness required, or is it guilt? Well, guilt despite ignorance. So that is it. All right. So if you've gotten all three, then you have you're certified Vicar 5, Leviticus 5 certified. Right. So we have come to the end of the study, and there's this song I just want to play before we go.